And then the clown says, "Does this taste funny to you?" I'm gonna go. Hey, what's up, Scott Balcom here with Imagination Creation Films, and today it is Friday, the 21st. I'm gonna cough. Wow, and man, I was feeling it. I'm late even. This is like weird for me. I don't normally get late. I was just chatting. I thought I had 10 minutes and blah, blah, blah. It's Friday. How you doing? Hey, you feeling good? Yeah, I'm feeling good. You know what we need? Puppy cam. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. It was like it's like he sensed what was going on, because he was laying over there right underneath the air conditioner, and so I set up puppy cam, angled right over at him, and then when I came over here to sit down, he's like, gets up, walks over here, so I had to go move everything. Woo! I will be clearing my throat quite a bit. Man, just like a... Sorry about that. That is... I am still getting over the exceptionally, insanely dry conditions of Las Vegas. Wow. It takes me forever. It's like I come back and, like, I mean, Austin's not even that humid. We have, like, at least some humidity. But it just hits me like a wall, and it takes me like a few days to adjust back to reality. Meanwhile, my sinuses go crazy and all that good stuff. Hopefully we are streaming good and clean and everyone happy. It is Friday, and I am back from NAB. I do still have a headache. It kind of came back about an hour ago, and so I'm just enduring all of your smiling faces. Well, I mean, I can only imagine, but I'm pretty sure you're smiling. Helping me through the day. But do not be alarmed if I scream out in agony, because this guy right here, unbelievable gas today. My God. I mean, that may have been what triggered my headache back. It is, I mean, it's really bad. And way to go, Scott. You designed a perfect box over here for the studio. It is literally, it's a hot box. So air conditioner blows it all back here, and it just stays. The joys of our animals. And he doesn't even care. He's like, "What's up? How you doing?" Oh, let's see here. King, hello, King. Let's see Scott's new gear acquisition. We're working on that. Frank says, "Happy Friday, Scott. NAB looked like a blast." It was a blast. It was also interesting. We will definitely talk about NAB. Good afternoon, Justin. How are you? Reach. Hello, Reach. Good, clean stream. That's right. It always starts with a good, clean joke right at the beginning, or at least a good punchline. Okay. Now, we'll see if the... King says, live from NAB? No, not live from NAB. I'm home. I have a few NAB questions, and why don't you answer my... did I get your email? When did you email me? I don't typically... The only time I ignore emails is literally if I'm in the middle of something and I just didn't see it, or I couldn't respond to it, and then I just... poop. It's gone. I assure anybody that I don't intend to ignore any email, and feel free to re-reply and say, "Did you forget about me?" Because I might have. The only people that don't do that, and I don't read their emails, are the ones that go, "We would like sponsor 30-second ad. We'll pay $5,000. Kindly respond by clicking this infected link." Those are the people that I don't respond to. Evening of the Geek. Oh, Ollie. It's because I don't pay, right? No, I don't do that to anybody. Danny, headaches, same as last time I was here. Time to see a document. No, it's this one almost certainly is related to the sinuses and back and forth of the humidity. This headache is a known headache in my brain. When is NAB? Looking forward to Canon announcement. It was this past week. There weren't any. We could talk about that. I was way off and wrong because nobody wanted to. Interesting. Just giving you a hard time. Not serious since you cannot see me. Why can't I see you? Why can't I see you? I see you right there. Your letters are out left to right, forming sentences and words. It's going to, I don't know, because I feel like some of them weren't ready, which was interesting. Some of them, they just didn't. There was some interesting stuff. I mean, really interesting. James says, "Hey, was great getting to meet up for cigars this week." Yes, sir, it was, and thanks for hanging out. It was a lot of fun. It was so fast, and then it's hard to get those things going because I mean there's so much going on, and you don't want to have one when something big is going on, and so it's informal. I just I do what I do. This was what I tell everybody when they go to NAB. They're like, "Hey, can I pal around?" I'm like, "I don't mind, but understand, I'm going to do what I do." And even still, I'm accommodating. He didn't do everything. How was meeting? He's not that bad. I'm not gonna give away. Well, I'm not. We talked about a lot of things. I literally, it was kind of funny. I saw him, and I walked up really fast, and I was like, "Why do you hate red?" And he just kind of stops and turns around, and then I introduced myself and started laughing so that he knew that I wasn't like, "You're such a hater," because I was just having fun with it. But we had probably a 15, 20 minute long conversation. He's a pretty nice guy. He's not a dummy. He also recognizes that things aren't what they used to be. What's the best way to phrase it without giving too much away? Yeah, I can't. I don't want to steal anything from him, but he's going to be doing some interesting things coming up. He's a very very nice guy. I did enjoy the conversation. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to what he puts out. We on the things that we did talk about that's not giving away anything that he's saying. He did take a lot of what other people say as fact, and not necessarily what is truth. For instance, the mini mags, we talked about those. I said the only thing that's accurate about the mini mags is the last iteration of the mini mags, where you could get an off-the-shelf NVRAM that could meet the requirements of the mini mag. That wasn't the case originally, which is why it was so specific. It's so hard to do, and it's easy to Monday morning quarterback and come in 8 years after the mini mag was, that technology that was done, and then say, "Well, this is how it's always been." No, and he understands that. He gets that. We laughed about a lot of things. he had some opinions and thoughts, and we discussed him. He's a good guy. He really is. I really enjoyed it. I do look forward to some future videos. It'll be interesting to see. Barefoot says, "Hi there." Justin says, "Okay, so my NAB question. I sent an email to you and Kessler regarding the Axibo." Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so I didn't reply to that email, Justin, because I did not realize. I read that briefly. I was literally walking around, and I thought I was copied by someone else, and so I wasn't going to reply. I thought it was just like a, "Hey, did you check this out?" So I didn't want to reply to that, and I was literally walking around when I read that. So, they're using a Cine 2 chip to achieve motion tracking, which they pipe into Unreal. Okay, so the did you see the Axibo? Did you see it firsthand, or what did you see? Because there's interesting thing about that, and let me know what you saw specifically, and then I want to answer that, because there's a whole lot to unpack on that whole thing. And personally, and this is what I told Axibo, I was like, I think it's great that you're in the market. I think it's great that you're pushing the market forward and doing things. I mean, I love Kessler, but I love everybody else doing what's cool, because it all makes everything better. It also brings visuals to, or puts eyes on motion control, which is a really good thing. So just to let me know what you saw specifically, and then I'll answer from there. Even companies like Aputure didn't have much to show. Seems like NAB isn't the target anymore post-pandemic. Yes. NAB, I would say the largest I've ever seen it was 2018. 2019, it was down a little bit. Then there obviously wasn't a 2020 and 2021. 2022 was really small. This year felt small. I mean, I've been since 2014, I think, is when I started, 2013, somewhere around there. Started going, and this year was smaller than those. Everybody's booths were smaller except for Sony. Sony still had a relatively large booth. Aries booth was pretty small. Canon's booth, I guess it was the same size. Maybe they released a few little sections. Aputure's booth was much smaller. Costs of NAB going through the roof. They nickel and dime for everything. It's hard, and the clientele that are going through there is different. It's evolving. Cinegear is definitely more in the cinema space, and it's far more intimate, far more to the point, and it's far more putting specific sets of eyes on things. For instance, if Arri's going to release a new camera, they're not going to release it at NAB. They could, but more eyes are going to be on it that are going to buy that at Cinegear. Maybe it's just timing, but I guess technically did they release it last year? But yeah, no, they released it at Cinegear, right? Okay. Her turned around and looked all the way up. Saw you and felt less intimidated? What? I don't know what that means. What am I missing there, Ollie? Her turned around. Did Kessler exhibit? No, Kessler did not. Kessler hasn't been since 2018, I think, in Cinegear. And it's all about getting eyes on products. It's hard to quantify the amount of money that it costs and how much money you have to sell to recoup, and that's tough. Kessler replied, basically pointing me to another creator using Kessler Vive, rear projection, not what I'm talking about. Yep, hold 1 second, let's see. I really wanted to link you up, but I was only there on day first. Copy that. Cool. My buddy Josh Satin said he ran into you and it was cool. Unless someone can like specifically state what we said, I remember words, but I mean, it was such a blur for me. I had so many people walk up. Truly, are we skipping frames? Let me drop down a little bit. Hold on. Let me just change the stream just a little bit here. Let's go to here. I had so many people walk up to me, which, I mean, I cannot get used to that. It is just too wild, but it's very humbling for that to happen. And I definitely appreciate each and every person. And I try to explain to them that I'm not going to remember. It is not because it's just everything's a blur, but I can remember every conversation I had. So if someone can say the conversation, I'll be able to immediately tie it back, just like cigars. That one I was able to tie back. Josh Satin, for the life of me can't. You'd have to tell me a little bit about. Okay, I got you. When you saw Frame Guy, I got you. Hey Phil, probably about 30% bigger than last year, but nowhere near. But yeah, the peak was 130,000. I think that was 2018, and then I think 2019 was like 115. And I don't know about the attendance this year. I haven't heard anything. What's your thoughts about the Adobe booth at NAB? Interesting point. I walked past it. I didn't, well, number one, there was hardly anybody there, which was really weird. I didn't expect that. I didn't see anything happening, and I was rushing to go someplace else, and it was kind of a pain. Okay. What? I guess. Sorry, the frame Voyager guy. He turned around. Yeah, he turned around and was like, no. It was kind of funny. Josh told me he was surprised when he saw the frame guy, or when he saw you specifically. Reach gets me. I'm really off, Ollie. I mean, headache, travel, fun times. Okay, Justin says, I did see it, and they're awesome jib. However, they created a plugin that pipes into Unreal. They also stated that the frustum, I hate that word. I really hate that word. Was synced to the camera that was moving back and forth. Okay, so there are two ways, Justin, to do Unreal. You can predetermine a path, and Unreal then Unreal is going to know that path because it's literally told what it's going to do, and so it's rendered for that path. What is in my pocket? Oh. Wow, never got those back to my... I was cleaning off my desk. And then the other way is with live tracking. So the way that Aximo is doing it is they have pre-measured and a way, so they have their slider, and it goes to the end, and it goes to this end, and it knows this is exactly how far this is. It is 39.2 inches or X number of millimeters, whatever. Same thing with their pan and tilt. They know what that is at any given moment. And then all it's doing is sending that information to Unreal. It knows where it is. You have to then set that slider X number of feet, or you have to put it wherever you want, and then measure to your display in the back, LED, TV, projector, whatever. And you have to then tell it, I am exactly this spot in this room compared to this projector, and I'm using this. So that is one way to do it. The other way is the tracking, which is using the Vive tracker, which is pretty much what everybody's doing, with the exception of if you have like a Bolt robot or Sisu or Boat Rush Precision, those kinds, because they're typically fairly stationary anyway in there. But everybody else is using the tracker. So if you put a tracker on your camera, then it doesn't matter. And it's actually easier than what the Aximo system is doing. It could be done on the Kessler system. I don't see any reason why it couldn't. But the question is, what is easier for the consumer? And I have to agree, it's probably easier to put a tracker on your camera, and you have your what you call it in the corners, and then just let it track in the space. That way, at any time, you could pick up your camera, go over here, handheld it, whatever you need to do. All of that takes place right there. The advantage of the Aximo system in way is you can pre-render everything, which means that your frustum is going to be the highest possible quality. So you're not going to be fighting with needing real-time graphics. So there is a positive for that, but it's not everything. And then we can talk about that jib here just a second. I just want to get some combination, because they are not done with that jib by any stretch of the imagination. So don't, I'm not going to say don't be fooled, because they weren't trying to fool anybody. They were just showing progress. But that is not a production system. Reach says, LOL, I got you. King says, I met Scott at NAB last year. Wow. No, I don't, King, because I wasn't there. No, I wasn't there. I didn't go to NAB last year. So who did you meet? Ooh, now I want to know. I forget what it was. I was unable to attend last year. What are you feeling? Mercury or DZO? That depends. So 2 different animals. Ultimately, if used for their specific, not yet Sparky, I can talk about it. King. Mercury is 1.5 anamorphic on full frame. DZO is 2x Super 35. Ultimately, they're probably going to look similar if you use a full frame on the one and the Super 35 on the other. I like the Mercury. In fact, I will be getting a few of them in to do a review on. So we've worked that out. The DZOs, I should be getting some of those to do a review on when they are finished with them. So Mercury has been out about a year. They're very slow to go out, but they're a nice anamorphic, but they're 1.5. So if you're shooting Super 35, it's not quite as strong of an anamorphic, but it is much smaller and lighter than, say, the Orions. The DZOs were kind of impressive. They only brought 2. One of them I don't like, because I really don't think I've ever found a 28 millimeter anamorphic that I've liked yet. That doesn't mean they don't exist, and I also haven't played with the very, very top end anamorphics. Sorry. But I do have lots of footage. Well, I have a bunch of footage of the DZO anamorphics on Mr. Monochrome. I ran around with the monochrome, showing it to basically anybody who was like, hey, what's that? And I was like, let me show you. And also, I stuck every kind of... are we dropping frames? Are we getting to that point? Okay. Any kind of of PL glass I could get my hands on that was kind of cool. I put it on there, shot a little bit of footage just to have, including the two test lenses that Phil Holland alluded to. I have footage on that, but I'm assuming now, Phil, and you can correct me if or tell me I'm correct, that I probably should not release that footage, and I guess that would be fair because that was not public. But I do have some footage of it. It's nice. It's interesting test stuff. Ian, hello, Ian from the Bright Group. Actually, just put up an article on my site on the numbers comparison. Excellent. I will. Where's your site? The Bright Group. Feels like I wouldn't. Yeah, when you typed up your synopsis, I was like, oh right. I'm thinking that we probably shouldn't be posting that, so I will not post it because they are unique. But it was very cool. Dan had a couple of prototypes, each doing slightly different things, but they were wild. They were really wild, actually, Phil. The flaring on that was really interesting. Chris, thank you so much, Chris. I greatly appreciate it, and you have my undying appreciation for at least 59 seconds. Look at that. It's even animated. It just kind of, oops, where is it? Right here. Chris, thank you, Chris. You're helping me get to Cine Gear. Man, I'm swinging the airfare to Cine Gear, but I have got to come up with a place to stay because hotels and Airbnbs in LA are insane. Oof. So if anybody has a couch that I fit in, let me know. Chris, long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks, Chris. Not sure if you got a chance to check out the DZO anamorphic. I did. Also, can you speak about how they compare to the Atlas Mercury? That is the same question there. Mercury is a 1.5 anamorphic full frame, DZO Super 35 2X. The Atlas have a very nice look. I like them. I also like the size of them. They're very cool. And I will be excited to get those in here probably right after Cine Gear. And then I'll do a review on them so everybody can see all the coolness that they are. The DZOs aren't going to be ready until summer. I have some footage shot on the 75 and the 28. The 28, I just don't like flares on 28s. Plus, it's so wide to begin with. I mean, you're talking about a 14 millimeter wide and a 28 millimeter tall. It's not that often you're going to use that. I personally won't like it at all. And it's also hard to get that depth that really shows off some of the bokeh and all that. The 75 actually looked pretty good. It's big. It's a big lens, not quite Orion size, but big. But a very nice look. Just the right amount of funkiness in the bokeh. It's a 2X anamorphic, so it's very classic anamorphic, which I like. It does some really nice things on the with the ovals. I don't remember off as 75, 60, I think. Is that right? There's a 175, 60, 50 something, or is it 48? And then like a 28, a 32. Yeah, there's a bunch of there's a 40 in there. There's a 40 and a 60, I think. It's some interesting focal lengths. I love 60. I love 65 better, but yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. I'm sure you were busy all week, but catch up on season 3 of Picard at all? No, I did not. I didn't watch a single TV anything. So Kate Kessler designed the same type of plugin to send the tracking information they have to Unreal to use. They could. But this part right here is not the truth. Well, it seems like that is the truth, but it's actually not. $5,000 is for the Vive Mars system, which is a cool everything tracker. But you can use the goggles, and this is what Tony Real and Chris Fields are using. They're using the little, I forget the corner modules. Those are relatively inexpensive. It's the tracker and the box. But if you use the goggles, you can take them apart and use the goggles as a tracker, and it works. And it's like $900. You can get the tracker and the two things for $900. So that is where things change quite a bit. Just got here, Sparky. Hey, Sparky. Does anyone ask about the Inspire 3 yet? Nope, not yet. It's a nice drone. It is. It's almost identical in size. It is a little quieter. What would you like to know, Sparky? You'll have probably 2 of them on order. It was there. It was flying in its little cage, and it was pretty stable actually, which is definitely something. The Inspire 1 for sure was horrible. The Inspire 2 was okay with flying indoors. This one was doing quite well. Neither was gotcha. Justin Smiley. Dan was playing it fast and loose, but I'm a little more protective because I want him to actually make them. Oh, I understand. And I did see, and Dan is a great guy, and I definitely would not want to do anything to disrespect or even take his fire away. But someone was outside the little tent, and they had their camera pointed in there, and he immediately stopped the conversation and was like, "Oh, can I help you?" That kind of thing. So that is kind of also my clue as to probably shouldn't. Travis, Chris Commons is rich. Get a small group together and split it. So yeah, I know, Travis. I mean, what I found is like Airbnbs seem to cost almost the same no matter what. So it's X number of dollars per person. So you can get a big group, you can get a small group, and it's always by the bed, and it's always about the same price per person. And it's still kind of expensive. I don't know. I need Scotty needs to be on a budget because I don't have anything between now and the feature in June, so it's tight. Good to see you, Travis. How are you? Oh, Travis has a pretty cool deal right now over at Syndicate Lens on his little group on a color meter. I'm not going to give you the details. That's up to him, but yeah, I was pretty shocked. Ollie says, I hear the street is common accommodation. Yeah. I literally thought about my van taking it there, but I don't know where I would go that would be okay. Justice says, biggest vendor to disappoint, Blackmagic Design. The Resolve upgrades were great, but counting on, to drive was, theirs was not ready apparently. I wonder if they'll be at Cinegear now because it was kind of a big, letdown. The 12K with an OLPF is not a camera announcement at all. No, that was. And the 18.5, it didn't lock up on me last night. That was not good. But a couple of nice things, and I do really appreciate Resolve coming out with new stuff. I also appreciate that they didn't just release a new 19 because, 18 just got here. And it says, Happy Friday, everyone. Sparky says, well, I'm asking. Let's see. It says, Scott, I was watching an NAB live stream, and I'm pretty sure I saw you walk by carrying a blue bag. It was gray, if it was me. Oops. Sorry, buddy. don't mind me. It would have been this. If I was walking by, I was wearing this. I was literally wearing this, and I had this in my hand at all times, walking around, which was pretty cool. There was a lot of people that were really impressed with the monochrome Komodo. I wonder which live stream was it? Do you remember? It would be fun to go find me. I swear I saw myself in someone else's video, but I went back and looked. I was like, dude, that's my doppelganger. That guy is so close to me. Yeah, Sparky says, yeah, ordering one right off the bat, and then we'll be ordering secondary frame and camera once they break up the kits and offer other things separately. Yep, they had a few of them there. They were definitely. Well, they were flying it. I mean, if you've ever been, Sparky, to NAB, they always have like a special cage to keep it from injuring anybody. And I mean, they'd have it fly, they'd have it hover, they'd have it move around. And I mean, it was doing a really good job of station keeping, which is that RTK antenna really going to help things out for sure. And Justin, we still need to talk about that Aximo thing here in a minute. Daddy says, in and out for a quick meeting. My first NAB was in Dallas. Oh, show alternated Chicago, Dallas a few years. Nice. You know what? The whole time that I worked for ABC, I never went. And it's funny because at one point they said I should go. They would pay for it. And I forget what came up. But we had something come up and I couldn't do it. I was in LA last month and saw a man disappear down a manhole. I have to look it up. It was two gentlemen walking around, nothing over there. Oh, was it threefold? Keenan and Caleb? Those guys are nice. I saw them. I did... If it was threefold, I probably was in that shot because it was kind of funny. I saw them at I guess it was the Port Keys booth, and I ran up to, as soon as they were done, I ran up to introduce myself and say hello, and which they immediately recognized. And then everywhere I went from that point, they were there in front of me doing a review or doing their streams. And it's funny because I have a bunch of videos like that, but I don't put them out at the show. And it's, you know, I'm not the news guy at the show, so others definitely will do a better job of that. But there will be, I think, 5 or 6 little video segments. I didn't get around to doing as many as I wanted. I never got to do DZO, but we were at DZO for 30 minutes getting a lot of footage and such. Also, Lawa. I did get Lawa. I got Aputure, got Deity, got Core, got... did not get... Or did I get Axoon? I did get Axoon. Axoon's doing some really wild stuff. It's kind of cool. It's, you know, it starts with that little eye and it goes wild from there. Who else did I mean, it was so weird. It was, well, first off, first day was easy. It was the second and third days that were rough because I didn't even get to this freaking show until like noon. Staying out so late. It was so bad. Sparky says, I'm impressed with its stability. My Inspire 2s have some good drift no matter where I am. It is pretty good. I mean, it's going to be hard to tell with my footage. I shot some of it, but I mean, it's literally just floating around in a cage. It's kind of hard to say how awesome it is with 30 seconds of that. Did Kessler ever ship tracking? Oh, you're talking about head tracking? For sure, it's in the works. It's not released yet, but it's in the works. Where are we at? Who is messaging me? What did I do wrong? Whoops. Cool. Okay, so sorry. Justin, see, we're streaming good. Okay. The Axibo. So if you spent any time at the Axibo, if you watched that jib, it has major problems. It has the exact same major problems that everybody faces when it comes to motion control, and that is inertia. It is really hard to move something fast and it not wiggle. And if you look very carefully, and I thought myself that I got some footage of it wiggling, but I did not. I did not successfully get wiggle. I was hand holding, and I talked to the guy for good 20 minutes, and he knows that I work with Kessler, and Kessler's my main squeeze, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't want it to look like I was like, oh, that kind of thing. I just, I did a little scan of the booth just to share with everybody. But okay, so you said 5th anniversary. It's not been that far, but it will be coming, Denny. Yes, the jib has major issues, and while I felt it would be ready in the fall, I had serious doubts about it. However, the price... Okay, so I don't believe... If they do it, it's quite amazing. But I do not believe that they're going to reach that 75 price tag. That is almost impossible. With the exception of the only thing you're going to get is the jib, pan, and tilt, or the swing and boom. Everything else is optional, and that might be. So the problem that they had with the wiggles is the ramping. And with Frankenrig over there, I do incredible stuff with it. But I am willing to do what it takes to get the shot. Joe Consumer or Sue Consumer or whoever consumer, a consumer, they consumer, whatever. Most are not willing to understand. They literally want to take a box and go, if I push here and I push here, it's going to work perfectly no matter what. And we're in our industry, it's hard to do that because we're artists. Yeah, we push a button, record, and it records to our cameras. But let's be honest, there's a whole lot of things we have to do to make that record actually work. We got to have the right lens. We have to set our T-stop. We have to put the right amount of light. We have to put the right amount of filtration. We have to set the frame rate. We have to set the color temperature. There's a lot that we're doing artsy to make the footage usable when it hits the media. So the thing with the motion control, my jib, it's even better now. So I have a new motor on the power block, which is even better. It handles the jib swing really well now. Before I would get if I went too fast and without controlling it, I could get a little wobble at the end. So what you're doing is you need to control the acceleration and the deceleration yourself. Cough. And you have to use chaos for that. The app is cool, the in is cool, but every axis is not the same. If I'm swinging, it's different than when I'm going up and down. That's chop. So you can't apply a curve that works on the swing as you can to the boom, or you're going to suffer some performance loss. So if you do the least common denominator, then everything's going to be slow. Well, that's not what we want. We want fast. So it's about ramping up and then controlling and then ramping back down. And it's not hard. It just takes a little bit of practice to understand I have this amount of weight, I have this amount hanging out, so I know I'm going to need to have a curve on this. I'm going to have less of a curve on this, et cetera, et cetera. They are fighting the exact same problems. Now, they have a design flaw in their jib. They know it. I mentioned it. They're not going to address it per se, and that is if you take a telescoping arm, a Hydra arm, or not Hydra, the expensive ones. When the camera goes out, the weights come back, and you do that to counteract the weight. And it's usually like 2/3 or 3/4 and 1/4 of the length is offset with the weights, and you pull them back. So it shoots out and these come back. Their weights are stationary. They're not moving with the head, which means that when you push that head out further, you're going to introduce, or you're going to have to counteract more of the, you're not dealing with a balance point at that point, which is ideal. When you're balanced, the only thing your motor has to do is fight inertia, which means I have to accelerate and I have to decelerate in a controlled fashion. But when you have weight hanging out here and not enough to counter it, now I've got to hold it up and I have to counteract. So you're doing more things, which means it is less competent in doing so. So, sorry, getting long-winded on the Aximo, which I think it's cool what they've built. But they're using basically almost off-the-shelf KUKA motors for their pan and their tilt. They're just attaching them. One is attached to the bottom, the other is attached to the side, and that's how they're doing this number. And they're literally the same motor. Those are not cheap motors. They're very cool, but they're not cheap. The rest of their motors are servo motors. I'm sorry, stepper motors, which they're loud, and they're hot. They run a lot of power, and they want to do what everybody in the world with motors wants to do, is that's get to brushless. It's the dream for everybody. But all that to be said, their jib is cool, but it isn't there. It has a lot of issues to work out, and it has a max payload of 10 pounds. Almost certainly because of the motors that they're using on their pan tilt roll, and the fact that they're not able to counteract the weight in the back. So 10 pounds, not enough. It's only good for a mirrorless. If you put Komodo on there, you're going to be pushing it. Even though Komodo is only 2 pounds, when you put lens and you put motors on there for focus and zoom or iris, you're past the 10 pounds. And I mean, I've had my Pocket Jib Pro on the Frankenrig there at 25 plus pounds on the end, and it's fun. The inertia is real, but you can do it. You just got to control it. And one last thing before I move along, unless other people want to talk more about it in depth. I've worked with robots, full-blown KUKA robots, and I can tell you that 7 or 8 times out of 10, unless you know with a lot of experience what your move is going to end up being, you're going to have jitter, you're going to have jolts, you're going to have vibration, you're going to have stuttering. It's not a perfect world. KUKA robots are not designed for cinematic movement. They are designed to repeat moves that are mechanical in nature. And we are less mechanical in the way that we like things. So The world of motion control, all the way up to the $250,000 robots, all the way down to the least expensive out there, they all suffer from the same problems, and that's counteracting inertia, and it's a problem. Okay, Danny says, I was born in 1957, the year NAB and Ampex introduced the videotape recorder. Oh, yeah, 1 inch? No, 1957. What did I been? That's 2 inch. Was that 2 inch? Plastic substrates were new. Magnetic tape, yep. With paintbrush spreading magnetic. Trade secret, full auto. Let's see here. There is a huge difference between the build quality of my Edelkrone Jib 1 and their Jib. My guess is around 12,000 build out if they solve the issues without adding concrete blocks to the legs. Well, that is the other interesting thing too, is they're only selling the main the boom, the swing and the boom. They're not selling. You have to mount it to some type of tripod, which, I mean, you saw theirs. They had a 150 millimeter bowl mount. It was a big tripod, and it needs to be, honestly, to handle that much weight. And I use the Kessler Hercules if I'm just doing a simple move like that. But almost always, mine is on. Mine is on a shuttle track, which is which I use that to counteract the problem of an arc. So when I arc, I get further away up here and I'm closer here. So when I'm here, I usually kind of I slide back with the dolly to keep it in line. They're doing it with telescoping front. But there are trade-offs to that. There are also positives to it. The trade-off is if I'm doing it all out here, then I'm affecting the balance and I'm affecting the length. And so the wiggle can get exaggerated. You're also fighting an additional thing there. Doing it on the bottom, I feel, is better in almost every case, with the exception of like getting into a product. Like if you want to get like you want to get up under a product, but your dolly is like right at the table and it can't you can't go any further. Being able to telescope out is kind of cool. Okie dokie, pokey pokey. Ampex chartered an airplane just to take the tape to the show. Legend has it, the demo tape was handed through the cockpit window on the tarmac. I know. I mean, Danny, I remember we flew a transmitter tube from I think it was L.A. It came overnight, custom critical. They actually flew it in an airplane seat. I mean, it was a $35,000 tube. And they bought it a seat, and they bought someone to fly next to it and to take it. I remember that. That was back in the late 90s there. Okay, let's see. What else? NAB. Who got questions about NAB? I'm sure there was stuff I was going to talk about that I didn't talk about, that I can't even remember anymore. Sorry. The joys of live streaming. Okay. Let's see. What did I see? There was a massive theft at NAB the day before. That was pretty wild. Big heist. A lot of cameras taken. That kind of sucked. IRIX Spent some time over at the Condor Blue IRIX booth. Both good companies. Really enjoy them. These are my favorite little things right now. These little Condor Blue little cable management jive. And I got back here, you can barely see it, but I've been building up Komodo with a new set of cables from Mutiny. Anytime you get a package from Mutiny, you know it's going to be good. This is a really cool thing Mutiny is making now. So it is a rigid extender for Komodo. So you attach it to Komodo, and then it comes out the side. And so you can disconnect rapidly on your Komodo. These are pretty cool. IRIX. So IRIX is coming out with a new lens very shortly. And she told me I couldn't say, which was pretty funny. She's like, we're keeping it a secret. And then literally every person walked up to me and said, hey, did you hear about the new lens size? I'm like, you're not doing a very good job of keeping it a secret. I think they were just doing word of mouth. But I'm not going to say the focal length. If y'all happen to guess it, I'm not going to say. But let's just say, if y'all remember what my favorite focal length, one of the two favorite focal lengths that I have. We already have kind of one of them on IRIX, but we're missing the other. So that one is coming out very soon. Let's see. My rant after NAB is the same as before. Virtual production vendors are catering to the 5% that can afford to pay, leaving out the other 95% of small. Well, yeah, I mean, they've got to make their money back. There is no cheap way to do it right now. There's pseudo ways you can do it with TVs, but it's tiny. You can't put a person in front of the TV. You can barely move your camera, but you could sell it just enough with like a 70 or 85 inch TV. Projection you can do, but I haven't liked projection. It is current goals. Sorry. Current goals is to do virtual production in here on the small scale, like Chris Field's doing. His latest thing, if you haven't seen his little video that he put out, my gosh, it's beautiful. And Justin, he's doing it with Kessler stuff, with Unreal. Okay, so yeah, it's hard. It costs a lot of money to make those panels, and so yeah, they're going after that. What is your preferred timecode Genlock device for the Komodo? I like the Deity TC1s. They're an ecosystem. So what Deity is doing and what they're going to do and what's coming in the future, getting the TC1s is going to make you happier a lot for a lot of reasons. Tentacle Sync, very fine. I've used them many, many, many times. There's nothing wrong with them, but they don't have an ecosystem. They have timecode. Deity has an ecosystem. Like their new wireless packs. They have timecode in them. Justin says, IRIX versus Nisi lens comparison is needed. I agree, working on it. Justin says 65 or 85. 85 is not my favorite. I'm going to start playing with Ultimate 12, using a video as a video background on the green screen. That'll be interesting. Let me know how the Ultimate, I always say it wrong. Let me know how that works, because that is a cool, not that expensive device. Pretty reasonable, I would say. So, yeah, let me know how that goes. Sorry, Komodo attachment for timecode and Genlock input. Oh, I see. My favorite is right now is the Tilta. But I have a feeling, because I have now held in my hands in person the Mutiny one, and I have a feeling it will probably become my favorite. It's smaller. It does more stuff. It's more adjustable. It's pretty much a little bit better in every possible way. So soon, I hope to have a review. Probably it's going to be June. It'll be hilarious because it'll be like, Komodo's been out for 3 years. And where's your review, Scott? Well, where's my Komodo review? It's so funny. I feel people ask me where my Komodo review is, and I feel like I literally don't stop talking about how great Komodo is. And I don't understand, why is it that I need to do a review when people can't get me to shut up about it? Is that plugged in? I don't have it. It was funny seeing on the SpaceX launch of Starship. You could see on Elon's screen it said Komodo. Hello, Luca. How are you, sir? Have you played with any of the AI tools in Resolve 18.5? I did last night for the first time. I literally just sat down I'm finishing up monochrome stuff. Just getting the final shots done on it for the review and the welcome to the world blessing by Scott. I don't know. I'm working on, and I was trying a couple of them last night, and they're interesting. The relight is interesting, although I would not say it is strong. At least not yet. Justin says, I like yours, but Red took it off the list, and I'm not quite there yet with the Mutiny one, but I will look at it again. I understand they did take it off the list. However, it's quite simple. If you want to have no problems with the Tilta, it's just simple. Don't plug in the power adapter to the Komodo while a V-mount is on the back. Done. You won't ever have a problem. I mean, there's not any issues. They fixed all the issues that were around and plagued. It is a solid unit. I use it every single day. I don't have any issues. There's no issues whatsoever. And it's the funny thing, because I was even joking about it with Sutton at Mutiny. The reason you don't have that issue with the Mutiny plate is because the Mutiny plate plugs into the power, which means you can't backfeed into the Tilta or the Mutiny because it's going in. The power is only going into the power thing. So you can't plug in your power adapter. It's not possible. So that's the problem with Tilta. And anybody that's killing their red using the Tilta, and it does take a little bit of time. It's not just like an instantaneous thing, although technically it could be. It's because they plugged in their power adapter. Don't plug in your power adapter. The power goes in. It is like 8 volts, 8.4 volts. This is 16 volts. That's not the same animal. Okay. He at least stopped making it stink in here. The reason they took it off was there were a couple of defects that I guess Tilta missed or changed or something, and it just didn't get put back on because I don't think Tilta cared. I don't know. It's not a problem. It really isn't. And I use the core too. And the core's on the back of this one. And it works just fine. It just doesn't have any of the advanced I/O stuff, which is important. Just says my biggest issue with using Ultimate right now is the data acquisition. I keep hearing that the hyperdecks are loud and seem to fail a lot. My thing with the hyperdecks and all the cool things is just because an LED is available does not mean you have to incorporate it into every product. Oh, it's so annoying. I swear it looked like I went to an arcade walking through the Blackmagic booth with all their like lights going around and around. Look, we have a marquee around our data tapes, and I was like, you don't need to animate every light. I don't need to have a bright blue light blaring me in the eyeball, letting me know everything is working. It's a wild thing, for sure. I guess my chat's working today. That's weird. Usually I have to scroll up and down all the time. And who's got more questions about NAB? Let's see. Deity has a bunch of new wireless transmitters coming out. Those look really cool, very small, very smart. There's a lot of intelligence in there. Let's see. Axoon. Axoon has their CMO Pro, which is that recorder that goes. There's some cool stuff with Axoon. I'll preview here. So this is the Power Cage Pro, and this is it is a cage for iPad Pro. Pretty slick, but it's so much mo. Oh, man, that would have been bad. This is aluminum, Scott. Don't slam it into your iPad. That should be that. Okay. Put that on the flow. Everything rhymes. So this allows you to put your iPad Pro in it. It allows you to mount a Sony NPF battery to it, to which it will charge your iPad. But also, hold on. You can take your CMO. Not this part. That's the iPhone part. This is the... Ooh. So this is the CMO. You put it on the back, mount it up. You put your battery on there, charges your charge your iPad, and it also has HDMI. So now you can record on your iPad, but you can take it a step further with their. Oh boy, what is it named? Is it Cine or Axoon something or other? It's their wireless receiver. So you can walk around with the video feed going into your iPad, and you can, you can record your takes. And this is something that's interesting. It'll be something that I'll be doing on the feature here very soon, whereby the DP is literally going to be rolling on the iPad in addition to the camera, so that at all times he can look at the shot at any time, and it's sitting right there on it in his photos. So that's cool. Deity would not say if their new transmitter would allow you to listen while recording. Yeah, I'm not sure if they've made an announcement on that at this point. Timmy says, just had to catch up at 2xp, but now I'm live. Show up late, Tim, you pay the price. And it's hard for me because I already talked too fast. But you were there at most of the NAB stuff, so you already knew. Did you have a chance to try on the Tilted Nano? No LiDAR. So yes, there is a video segment on the Tilta that will be coming out by me here shortly. So yes, everything, everywhere, all at once. Good movie. Hi everyone. I was wondering why the autofocus on the Komodo is still in beta after all this time. Been using it and still in the works. Maybe not as good as the others, but still okay. So Anthony, you need to understand what Red does with beta is it doesn't mean you can't use it. What it means is we don't want you to rely on it. Meaning it's not 100% perfect, red, stable, et cetera, et cetera. Meaning, if you look at autofocus today, it's pretty good on the Komodo. It's not Sony, it's not Canon. Getting better all the time. Pretty snappy, and it does a pretty good job. But when it doesn't, then it sucks. I mean, you blew your shot. That's not Red Standard. Red Standard is it works all the time. So they're going to call it beta. I mean, it's kind of the way it works. It is constantly being improved. I used it a lot at NAB. I mean, I had the 16 millimeter on here, and I hand this to people. I'm like, touch focus, and they're having a blast. I mean, it works really well, and it tracks, does a good job. So there's a lot of things that are in beta because they're not perfect, and when it comes to Red and the cinema industry, perfect is a requirement. You don't want your media to fail. You don't want your camera to fail. So any product that they release can't fail. And the autofocus is not perfect yet. So it could fail. Hey, Curtis, how you doing? Starting month-long multi-camera time-lapse tomorrow. Got to go see you down the road. All right, Danny, good luck. So was the Starship meant to explode or not? Okay, so number one, interestingly enough, anybody that is calling Starship a failure does not understand, and I mean with a exclamation point, does not understand how Elon, how SpaceX, and how rockets work. They have been so delayed on getting the approval to launch that they have several iterations. So they've already changed out a lot of technologies in the next booster. This one was old and hydraulic. They literally just wanted it to leave the launch pad. They just wanted to find out how it was going to handle it. That was the only thing they cared about. Everything else after that was gravy. And for people to say, oh, it exploded, it blew up, it had a lot of problems. Now, what was interesting, I mean, here's what I believe we're going to find out, maybe never, but it will be somewhat proven. A, the no water deluge system, no thrust guide for shooting the flames out thrust trench. Those things caused all of the power to go straight into the concrete. That concrete blew apart with the amount of thrust. It was so much that chunks, I mean, if you didn't see the video, chunks of concrete, giant chunks, went through cars that were almost a kilometer away. It looked like almost a nuclear explosion on some of those videos. It's pretty wild. What I believe we're going to find is that right off the bat, they can't light all of them at the same time, so they light them in boop, 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 really fast. I think once enough power was to the concrete that it created concrete debris, I think it took out several engines, 2 or 3 of the outside engines, and part of the hydraulic system that actuates the gimbals. There was one there was one engine that was kind of pointed outward, and you could see it when it was flying that the thrust was going out, and it's not supposed to be out. So clearly that engine got something funky with it. So the concrete debris, I think, caused most of the problems with that ship. I think the hydraulics failing means they couldn't gimbal over and control. And if you look, once it got up, I mean, it took off kind of a little bit sideways, I think because of that one engine that was angled out. And then when it's up there, they kept losing engines. It was kind of a thing, and we can go into that for a second. When it started to do the belly flop, they were using the thrust vector thrusters up at the top that used like a gas. They were running 100% continuously trying to right it. So this engine was like kicking it over, and it was way outperforming that. So what I think is the most important thing from this is, A, you can launch 31 engines, twice as much as Saturn V, and it is going to get off the ground. Two, funny. The design that SpaceX came up with, which is, let's not do 5 giant motors, let's do a bunch of smaller motors. That worked stupendously. At one point they had 6 motors out, but one of them relit and came back online, which was kind of cool. And they were still going. At some point they realized it was not going to go much further. They also had, if you watch the timer, right at around 54 seconds, there was something that happened. There was an explosion or something, and they lost about 15% of their liquid oxygen in their tank. If you watch the little meter, it goes like that. So something else. I think they were continuing to let it go while it's trying to correct itself as long as they possibly could, until it was getting to a point where they needed to control the dispersal of it, because it was up to 39 kilometers high, and then it came down to like 30 when they exploded it. I think it was actually, I mean, I would have loved to have seen everything work perfectly. I think it was a huge success. Okay. Curtis says, I've used Komodo autofocus on a few music videos or Steadicam, and it was 100%. Yep. The face tracking on the app is awesome. Can I use the small HD Komodo monitor to select focus on the screen? I don't think so. Does anybody have the small HD? I don't have the small HD. I'm supposed to get one for review here. I don't think you can use it for that. You can use the iPhone, though. If you use the Red Control app, it does. Tubes. I got a set of Plumicons once, cost $20,000, and that was SD. Makes red seem to tube. Oh yeah. Talk about the tubes. The only fellow who starts up launch was the day. That was man. What was the phrase? Somebody had a great phrase for it. Called it a man, what was it called? Oh gosh, go back all the way back. Let's see. It's called an orbital launch crater or something like that. What was it called? Orbital launch crater of the OLC. That's pretty funny. Scott, are using the Red Control app for both Komodos on set? I can see iPad cage coming in clutch. So we have used on the last virtual production set we used iPad with 3 Komodos on it using the Red Control Pro, all in sync. You just go boop, and all of them roll. Amazing, absolutely cool. Curtis is like, hey, let's get Scott demonetized. It says, I believe Elon says Starship can lose up to 9 inches. Okay, because I'd heard 6, but I couldn't remember where I'd heard that from, I edit. So I believe that is the case as well, that they can run those when they lose an engine. They could just run the others longer and harder. They're not running at 100%, which is cool. Now, the one thing that the one thing about the Raptor engine is it is the only engine design of its kind. There is no engine on the history of this earth that has achieved what the Raptor engine can do, because it is a full cycle. I forget what they call it. It is 100% as efficient as a rocket can be, and there are now 31 plus 9 or whatever of them in the ocean right now. So I hope they recover all those and no one gets them, especially anybody that should not have them, because that would advance someone's rocket career quite a bit. Just as Elon said 3 months ago, we started building a massive water-cooled steel plate to go into the launch mount. We wrongly thought, based on static fire data, that would make it through one launch. Well, there's no concrete left, so they got it. I would imagine they're going to have to do a lot of structural engineering validations to make sure. I think the tower is going to be just fine, but those that definitely the orbital launch crater is going to have to be filled in quite a bit, and you have to wonder. I don't know a ton about concrete, but I know there's different mix strengths, so PSI. I wonder what PSI that was, and if a higher PSI concrete would have fared better. Or what if you just coated the whole thing with steel plate? I'm sure they would have melted, but think of it like asphalt. Is that a consumable? And asphalt is a wear. It's a wear texture that they put on a road. It's designed to wear out. They grind it up and they put it right back down. So I kind of wonder, yeah. The next booster is using all electric gimbal control, no hydraulics. So which is a huge big savings. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Curtis says no. What is the cheapest compatible CFast card for Komodo? Angelbird? No. And I can't show it to you because I don't have it in here. Just approved. This one right here. That one right there. The 660. There's a 660 gig now approved on the latest Komodo firmware drop that was dropped right before NAB. So pro-grade cards are now supported. Pro-grade, fantastic cards, guys. Whew. Love pro-grade. Been using the SDs forever. Now playing with the CFast. Very, very good. It's 660 gig. Angelbirds also, I like them. They're very good. Those are probably the only two that I would trust. And it was weird. People were having some problems with Angelbirds, and I'm not sure what that was. And the red cards are Angelbird too, so you could trust those. But yeah, I don't know what that was. Anthony says, using the Canon 24-70 RF on Komodo last week, I realized that the focus ring is a bit flaky. Not happening on the R5. You still can't do smooth. Not every lens is mapped correctly, and you'd have to look at the Komodo firmware logs to see if that lens is listed as flaky. It could be. Kind of jumps ahead in an erratic manner. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that lens. All I have RF are the 50 and the 16, the little kit lenses, well, GDUs in this case. I'm going to put on my big boy pants. Putting on my big boy pants, and I'm going all PL from now on. So I did talk with IRIX, and I'll be able to most, I guess. They don't recommend anybody do it, but I'll be able to, because there's no electronics for me to burn up. but I believe I can swap those out from them. So I'm going to change those over to PL and PL from now on. Curtis Boggs, thank you, sir. I appreciate that for your generous contribution to my Cine Gear hotel bill. I now can stay an additional 4 minutes in LA. Thank you, Curtis. Anthony says, I know someone's selling a Monstro ST Stormtrooper for $15K. Worth it, or is the Raptor? It's a good question, Anthony. On the how long will the support last? Typically, support is about 5 years after they cut it off, and they just cut it off. So I'm guessing you got 4+ years of support for it. But there are people who can fix them, like the DSMC one. You can CG. You can send your DSMC one to him, and he can fix them. He's been doing quite well at it. A Monstro Stormtrooper for 15 is a pretty good deal. If you don't need the 120K, or yeah, that'd be an awesome camera, wouldn't it? The 120 frames per second, and you wanted full frame and you need to save money, the Monstro is probably 95% as good. I mean, the shadows are where the V-RAPTOR does better at. But it's not, I mean, it's not gigantic, but you can see it. But for the most part, they're fairly similar. The V-RAPTOR does get a little bit, slightly better dynamic range. I mean, if I only had 15,000 period, then it'd be no question. I would just get the Monstro. But if I was, say, flexible, and I could handle Super 35, then I would probably get the Super 35 V-RAPTOR, because it's only 17.5. That's not much more, and then you get the 8K. I'm just sorry. I've been wanting these, and I wanted to see what I got, because these are some of my favorite little things. And if they're junk, then I'll know it. That's my thought, Anthony. I mean, it really depends. There's nothing wrong with the Monstro. It is absolutely gorgeous. I hate that the prices keep going down, but they are with it. Pretty funny. What a perfectly... All right, what did I get? Take your guesses. Put your guesses down below. Watch it be labeled right there. Yep. What did I get? I was not picking. There's no pick. I was scratching the outside. Justin says, there we go. Need to get. Thanks for all the questions, answers, and thanks for all of your time every week. Not a problem, Justin. Always happy to do so as best I can. Ollie says, oh, nice. To answer your question, I think it's a 660. Let me go find out. I'll be right back. I'm just going to walk in here, and my dog's going to freak out. He's going to be like, hey, why are you leaving me? What's wrong? Is there something I can do? There's that. Oops. Drop that. Don't move the mouse. Don't wake it up. Okay. Is it live or is it Memorex? Woo. Man, I turned the air conditioner way, way down in here so that I could cancel out this headache. It's working like a champ. Oh, it is a 640. There you go. I've been using these little guys on my Sonys. Maybe I haven't. Maybe that's as close as it gets. These little Safe Express Type A's. Flawless. Amazing. I'm sorry. I need to put this back here because I'm literally just going to play with it otherwise. All right, what's your guesses? What's your guesses? What's your guesses? Come on, get them in quick. Get them in quick. It's a box. Interesting sound. And it says 2 props. A little short for props. German shaving blades. Maybe German, maybe not. Nope, they're not German shaving blades. I'll give you a hint. They're used in almost all of my photos of products that I put out. So when I'm reviewing a product and I just take a photo to let people know that, hey, check what I'm checking out, I use these. Now we'll see if we can get anything. That is the hint that you get, Ollie, nothing else. It is not a battery, although technically I do use a battery every time I... Oh. And again, thank you, Curtis, for that. Hello, Gregory from Greece. Good late night to you. James says, it's a stand. Or are you just telling me to stand up? I'll sit up straight. How about that? It's not a stand. All right, come on. Everyone put in your last little guess. You're not going to get it. There's no way you're going to get it. No, you're never going to get it. Never going to get it. Not this time. Never going to get it. I'll give you a hint. How wooed. I'll give you one last clue. Nope, it's not a deck of cards. This is a deck of cards. Close, but it's not. This is my sealed deck. Oh, it was funny. A quick side story here. I am now completely inspired to continue my Red as a Cult videos with a couple of other videos. Why is my nose itching? You know what it is. About why you're probably wrong about Red. So I met Matty Hapoya at one of the parties, and nice guy. And I asked him, I said, why did you buy an Arri LF over a Red V-RAPTOR? And he started to comment, and then I guess his colorist or his friend started interjecting, whereby I had a 10-minute conversation that was circular logic that didn't quite add up. It was all the old sayings about Red. Oh, it's so hard in post, and and at one point the argument was that you couldn't. Let's see if I can phrase it properly. It's hard to phrase it properly because I couldn't understand the logic. You couldn't put a LUT in camera to make it look good in camera. I was blown away. It was a very nice guy. Was probably a little tipsy, but that right there, I have a feeling, and I have no ill will towards these people, but I have a feeling that Matty was told he had to get an LF or he's nobody. And so I'm gonna dispel that once and for all, and the 4 people will watch it. It's a deck of cards. Nope. Business cards. Nope. A very small product tripod. Nope. Ink for a printer. No, that would be gold. A tropical color. Sad. I don't know what that is. Bulbs. No. All right, I'm going to open it up right here. Y'all are going to laugh. Y'all are going to go, what the hell? I just find it funny the way that it was packaged. Ooh. Okay. All right. All right. Your room for... Yes, it's my card key to get into a room. They are dichroic crystal cubes. What's cool about them is when you shine... Oh, these are smaller, aren't they? Dadgummit. That figures. I was trying to find the right size, but they'll work. So these are the ones that I've been using forever. And then these are the new ones. They're slightly smaller, but light scales perfectly. But basically when you shine a light through them, depending, well, you won't be able to see it, but you can see it on my face. Depending on which angle you go, you can get various beams of awesomeness coming out of it. And I love putting light rays on there. Ollie, you would have got it right. So these are a little bit smaller, even though I literally measured and bought the exact same thing. But now I have Now I have 8 of them. Well, now I have 10 of them, technically. These are awesome. And on Amazon, they're exceptionally expensive. But on eBay, not too bad. I think I paid $22 for 8 of them, which is pretty cool. But now I can, and that's literally what I do, is I line up the beams however I like, use these little flashlights. Which I have to keep them. And so I can shoot my beams however I'd like. It's just cool. I dig it. And they're actually, they're called defect glass, because they're designed to be, I think they're designed for some type of optical projection, but they're defective, or that there's a defect in them. And so, yeah. Happy to see your red video and show the truth. Yes, indeed. Ollie, you would have won. You would have won the prize. I've used fishing line across the lenses. Well, yeah, that's good for getting the streaks, but this is for putting streaks on the table, so, or on the product itself. I don't have an example, do I? My red, when I put this one, it's hard to see, and definitely hard to see because I don't have it hooked up. Go away. But like this, there are streaks everywhere in there, and I've added color. I've got literally the word monochrome is lit in color. It's kind of cool, but I love that stuff. Ooh, disco cubes. Yeah, it could be. Nope, not an SSD. Not an SSD. Oh, tropical color SSD. That's what you were saying. A7S owners are not happy bunnies, I hear. Why? Why are A7S owners not happy bunnies? Why would A7S? Oh, because of the lack of firmware? Yeah, I hear you. If you look at the, like right here, you can see the black bar that goes across the puppy cam. It's because he's in DCI. I do like DCI, so when they added it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm shooting in that. Yep, I like that. Now my videos can be in DCI. Now I can shoot my Komodo at 17 by 9 and not have to worry about having to crop the sides. What's up, puppy? FX30 owners are happy. FX3 owners are happy. They are. Yeah, they're definitely not going to add that in to the A7S III. It's true. Always a better option for video. It was, but I'm a hybrid shooter and it sucks. But you know, the future is bright. And I wonder what I was thinking when I aimed this camera. Um, I wonder what I'll do here in the future. I might kick things up, change things around a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to see. The Nova Prospect. Hello, the Nova Prospect. Do I know you? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I don't. I'm so bad at names and people. I did run into Art. I ran into Sheldon. I forget his first name. He and his wife. I ran into a bunch of people. I tried to post all the photos yesterday all at once, so probably nobody saw anything. I did meet Josh Yo. I had a brief conversation. Gerald Undone, very nice guy. He definitely smiles a lot. Gene Potato Jet. Well, I met him at Cine Gear before. It was funny because he was talking, and I went up and just started having a conversation with his now fiance, and she's like, "I know you," and I was like, "Yeah, we met at Cine Gear." She goes, "Oh yeah, okay." Ollie's like, "You will switch to Canon. Don't fight it. You will achieve one lens system nirvana." Nope, I already said I'm switching to PL. Oh, Curtis got to bounce. See you, buddy. It's, I am not switching to Canon that I know of. I might just shake it up. I might start taking everything up another level. Up like a generous, I have the reds and I don't shoot the reds on this stuff, but after shooting with the monochrome stuff, I'm having a lot of fun with dynamic range and all the cool things. And doing the Gone in 60 Seconds intro that was with Dragon. Oh, did y'all see him smile or anything? Oh, that's that's gonna make me have a headache. Golly, Rex. Woo. I was saying something and Rex destroyed me. The Dragon. I enjoy. It's a lot more storage, but I might push the envelope, and I have a bunch of cool stuff coming in reviews. There's gonna be a lot more lighting coming through here soon, which is interesting. I don't want it to just be a lighting channel, but I love lighting. So we're gonna be doing some fun stuffs and some other brands and some lots of stuffs. There's some brands out there that are doing some pretty amazing stuff. It's Charles. Did you see the meditating software? Oh, I didn't get to their booth. I didn't get by their booth at all, and it sucks because that was one of the ones I wanted to do. Nope, I did not see it. Greg, just as I tuned in, Anthony says, "Why do you like Sony more than the Canon?" The reason I like Sony more than the Canon is the highlights. I like the Sony highlights more than I like the Canon highlights, and it was a tough one. It was a tough decision because I really wanted, RF glass is a common denominator with Komodo, V-RAPTOR, and all the new Canon stuff. but I just don't like the highlights on the current Canon stuff, with the exception of the R3, but I'm not going to spend that much on a Canon. Curtis is like, Sony, go Sony, Scott, go Sony. Oh, I like Sony. I do like Sony, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sell my Sonys. Just means I might just, elevate the channel just a little bit more. And it says, do you have to use Red's RF to PL, or you can use anything. It's you can use. I have 3 of them here that I'm using right now. I mean, PL is kind of a dumb mount anyway, so as long as it's secure, that's fine. And just support your lens, especially on like Komodo with its non-locking mount. Just support it in the middle, or you can use Red's locking that's got a much beefier mount. That's cool. Doggy farts are the worst. You are not lying at all. I mean, it smells like a summer afternoon jog sock that has been put into a plastic bag for a week. Then you take that fish that you left in the fridge and forgot about. You put that back in the bag. Then I don't know what the other smell is. Almost like bad cream cheese. And then you just kind of mix that up, and you literally just go poof. You pop the bag right in front of your face. That's Rex's farts today. Oh my gosh. Light some candles. I'm afraid that it might be combustible. He's out. Komodo storage is pretty hefty too, unless you're using extra loving quality ELQ. You can do quite well with that. That Canon C70 though, it's so big though, Tim. It's so fat and like it's huge. And I'm like, literally, this is technically smaller than your C70. The only thing the C70 has better than this is the autofocus. Other than that, I think that's better. Greg says, hey, Tim. I edit says, let's fight. Hey, Greg. Doggy diarrhea, though. You have so many doggy diarrhea stories, Tim. I remember the one in Vegas with Kenji. It was around Vegas, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was around Vegas. It was. And he says, I do like the R3, but I just discovered that there's no C-Log, even in RAW. That's another Canon mind-boggling weakness of the ARC crippling their cameras for no reason. I agree. Oh, built-in ND, mini XLR. You could go on and on. Yes, you can. It is a tool, though, and that is the truth. Cameras are tools. Treat them like tools. Don't be like Scott and baby them and pretend that they are your baby. C70 does have CDs, though. CDs. What am I missing? CDs. Like CDs C70? Yeah, that was leaving Vegas in 2019. They're from scene 3 times after being in the backyard. It was kind of funny. That was 2019 was Indies, okay. 2019 was a road trip NAB. We all drove out there in our various vehicles, and we all had our little radios that we were communicating, and all of a sudden I get across the radio, oh my God, oh no, oh my God, no, no. And it's just continuously, I'm like, what's going on? He's not like off the road or anything. He just, oh my God, Kenji. That dog pooped everywhere in his car. and on Tim. It was so funny. I was like, I'll just hang back here. Oh, good times, good times. Good times and noodle salad. Don't you do it again. Don't you do it again. You have that look. You're smiling. So bad. That was the funniest thing that happened with those radios. The second funniest was we were traveling through Colorado and we were chatting with each other in the cars, and just like out of the blue, a guy was on the same frequency and pretended to be like in between my voice and his voice. And both of us thought it was the other one, but he kept saying, well, maybe you ought to pull over here. I hear they have really good, green plus sign places. And we were both listening and like going, was it, Scott doesn't say that. Why would Scott say that? And I was like, why is he saying that? What do we do? And it was so funny because it was so well done. I was like, this has got to be like their thing where they just, people on the little walkies, they could just interject and tell people, I hear they have really good tamales over here. I use Kippertie NDs on my Moto and they are just sublime. Yep. Just don't look at the price when purchasing. Well, and they're very hard to get to. They're quite pricey. They're quite pricey. They're good, but they are quite in demand, back order. For sure. Tim, did you try your first AC bag on? I got this, am I dropping frames? No, I'm doing okay. I got this, this really incredible, don't you dare. You're smiling. Grab this. I got this awesome Aputure first AC bag. Really cool. Really, really well designed. Really well thought out. Minus one thing. It's not for me. It don't go around my waist. It's a Scotty, you got to lose some weight, which is funny because that's literally what I'm about to do. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Y'all can watch me. Because NAB made Scotty a big boy, and he's done with the whole being fat thing. So he's going back to Scott Classic. Scott Classic was Scott Classic was the bestest. I'm going to lose 50 pounds, and then it's going to fit. It says, my fur buddy will literally walk from the other room into my office, lay down, and pass the nastiest winds of my feet. So, growing up, we had this poodle, a little bitty poodle, and she was sweet and everything, but if you let one rip, she would turn around and just give you the nastiest look and then get up and leave. If she let one rip, she would turn around and give you the nastiest look and then leave. I'm like, you don't get to do that. You're not completely out of the equation here. It's your cause. You did not get an Aputure. I didn't either. Yeah, you look like you're prime. Oh, my nose is itching so much. I didn't even enjoy a prop today. But, yeah. So, hopefully next few days, you'll start seeing some videos come out from NAB so y'all can see what, well, pretty much everyone else has already shown, but then we'll have the mono Komodo chrome review, and I really love this camera. It is way too cool, and it's just one of those. I just didn't think I would like it, and with the full spectrum on there, it sold me because it is now not a one-trick pony; it's a two-trick pony. And now I love the black and white so much that I kind of want to do that a lot. I almost live streamed with it today, but I was like, yeah, people want to see the. Hey, you can almost see the shark on his back. You can't see the tail, but you can see his dorsal fin and his eyeball, and he actually has a full tail, right? I mean, it's just there is a tail that goes right around his tail. It has a full shark on him. Called him Shark Butt as a puppy. Excited, can't wait. So sad I couldn't make it. No big deal. Do you think the Nanolux releasing the 900C and the fact that they've really focused on being cinematic brand instead of the prosumer content creator brand, that they'll catch up to? I think, Charles, in some ways, that they may have passed Aputure in a couple of ways. It's interesting. It is an interesting thing. They're pushing forward rapidly, and they're doing some really good things. And we should have some reviews very shortly. They are really nice people over there. I had some good conversations with them. Sales and image wise, yes, I agree. I think the 900C is pretty. It's a shot across the bow. Their 1200 and their 1200X, their bicolor that they have, also really solid, really solid. Anthony says, I visited Kimbertai 2 weeks ago, just down the road from me. I did not realize it was hard to get a hold of their stuff in the U.S. Yes, it is. And I don't know why. I guess there's only a handful of people that can import it, I guess. I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, yeah, he looks evil. Look at him. You can't trust a dog that looks that evil. What is in the shot? What is that? Right. Oh, duh. My chair. I was like, what is that? Thought it was my backpack. That's funny. Okay. Well, it is, I'm going to go another minute because I was late. I apologize. I was literally 1 minute late on my live stream. And that's something I pride myself on, but I was literally, thought I had 10 minutes and I was chatting with a buddy. And then I was like, oh, I better go. And then I looked over, I was like, I think, yeah, well, you know, that's all I got about to say about that. So there'll be some updates. I probably will do like an NAB. I'll do the individual booth videos, just kind of standalones, just kind of pop those out there. Maybe one a day. I don't know, something to get those tens of views, and then I will. I'll probably do like a wrap up and talk about it. But there wasn't a whole lot of good stuff at NAB, but there was a few small things that were pretty nice. The Laowa Ranger zooms, we talked about those briefly. Saw them in person. They're not bad at all. They are a sharper, contrastier version of the and they are a little bit lighter and smaller than the too. Kind of impressed. Also, the 18 to 90 zoom from DZO, pretty nice, pretty big, pretty nice, but it's not quite as nice as the Fuji Cabrio 19 to 90, but that's their market that they're hitting with that. It even has a rocker zoom and iris. or focus. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Okay, well, that is going to do it for today's live stream, and I appreciate each and every one of you for dropping by and saying hello. Oh, I did see that too, Frank. That was huge. That was literally the front element is like this. It is wild. We were going to mount it up to the Komodo, but we couldn't come up with a way to hold the lens because you would hang the Komodo off. They're quite nice, and I'm surprised. I have not. I've talked to several people that have. There are some love hates in there. There's a full frame Super 35, and then there's the little tiny ones. The little tiny ones are good, but they're missing the ultra wide. The Super 35s. I'm trying to remember which ones are which. Either the full frames or the Super 35s. One of them is better than the other by a lot. And they're not bad. But, yeah, the Nisis are going to be interesting, too. That would have been sick. Yeah, yep. Great seeing you, Scott. Thanks for the live stream. Got to go back to first watch the one I heard missed. Full frames are great to my eye. It might be the full frames that were better than the Super 35s. I'm trying to remember what. Some of them were soft. Others were not. Also, the DZO, the macro, the macro lenses, those are pretty good. I was kind of shocked. I did not expect to think they were that good. They were quite good. I will probably just talk about footage with that one. Okay, y'all have a wonderful weekend. Hope everyone has some delicious food. I'm going to be making Mongolian beef this weekend. And remember to support, become a channel member, all the good stuffs and things. And as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passion center around your life. Let your life center around your passion, unless you're Rex, and clear out the room. Have a good weekend. You're not getting Mongolian beef.